when it's this time of the day, you know it's Kirk in the morning time. Welcome. It is the 5th of September 2022. We know it as the Judgment Day, even as we wait upon the Supreme Court to give their judgment as far as the presidential election petitions are concerned. So welcome. Remember, we are also coming to you live on all our social media pages on Facebook and YouTube is Kirk TV Kenya. You can as well send in your comments or questions in the discussion that we'll be having later on as far as the Supreme Court judgment is concerned with Advocate Odhiambo Brian. So you can send in your SMS, comments or question on our SMS number, that is 0111220044. My name is Aida Munzatsi and Kirk in the morning starts right now. With the traffic updates, just to let you know of what roads are clear and what roads you'll be using just to take or undergo your daily activities this morning. Remember, there'll be a closure of a number of roads this morning and we'll be updating you on exactly that. So we start by looking at the CBD area. A number of roads are clear right there. Looking at Upper Hill area, it's still clear, but remember, according to a statement given yesterday by the traffic, is that a number of roads will be closed today. Those are number of roads that definitely are leading to the Upper Hill area, even as we wait upon the Supreme Court judgment. Looking at Jogoo Road is quite slow, so definitely you can look for an alternative route, that is if you're headed to the CBD area. Looking at Ngong Road, Ngong Road is clear. Upper Hill Road as well is clear. Looking at the Hospital Road is clear as well. Valley Road is clear. So I think most of the people are just avoiding those areas, and definitely those roads are clear. So you can just try and get alternative routes if you're headed to the CBD or if you're headed to the Upper Hill area before the Supreme Court declares at what time exactly the judgment will be listened to, so that you're in your offices or going about your business on time. And just to share with you a number of roads that will be closed as far as the OC traffic area statement is concerned. So Ngong Road will be closed at the junction of Ngong Road, First Avenue, that is opposite NHIF. So no motorists will be allowed to access CBD through Kenyatta Avenue via Cathedral Road, but instead are advised to use Haile Selassie Avenue. The second road that will be closed, that is Cathedral Road or Milimani Ngong Road, which accesses Milimani Locots, will be closed at Kenyatta Avenue or Valley Road Junction, that is NSSF. Only vehicles heading to the court will be allowed. The other road is Cathedral Road or the Haile Selassie Avenue Junction will be closed, and motorists are advised to use alternative routes of Haile Selassie Road and Ngong Road. So that's the traffic update. As we mentioned, remember, a number of roads will be closed today as far as the Supreme Court judgment is concerned. So when the Supreme Court will be telling the public at what exactly time they'll be making the judgment, a number of roads headed to the Milimani Locots that's around Upper Hill will be closed. And we've just looked at a number of roads that will be affected. And according to the statement, you're supposed just to try and find alternative routes to go about your businesses. So right about now, we'll be looking at the newspaper updates. Well, for the newspaper updates, we have the Standard newspaper and the Daily Nation newspaper, and it's all about the Judgment Day. On the top page of the Standard newspaper, they're just looking at the 7-bench judge, that is Philomena Mwilu, who is the vice headed by Martha Koome. We have Isaac Lenaola, Smoking Wanjala, Njoki Ndongo, Mohammed Ibrahim, as well as William Ouko. And the question or the statement that the Standard newspaper is giving is, the country today will know whether the election of President-elect William Ruto will stand or if it will be nullified. Both decisions have serious repercussions that will reverberate long after the Supreme Court declaration. That story, you'll find it on page 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 of the Standard newspaper. Still on the top page of the Standard newspaper, we have the 9 key issues that the Supreme Court will be looking at even as they declare their judgment today. So you can just read of the 9 issues. We have whether the technology deployed by IEBC in the elections made the standards of integrity. Just to read a few, the 9th issue is, what reliefs and orders can the court grant or issue? We also have a statement that is by President-elect William Ruto, as well as the Azimio la Umoja leader Raila Odinga, and I'll just read, quote unquote, we will respect the judiciary and the Supreme Court. That is the only way we can maintain democracy and ensure all Kenyans are treated equally before the law. That is a quote as far as the President-elect William Ruto is concerned. And looking at the Azimio la Umoja leader Raila Odinga's quote, he says, these actions we take are not just for us, they are for prosperity. Strong institutions are built when people refuse to be dictated to by authoritarian regimes. So looking at the second page of the Standard newspaper, still on the judgment, who will get a nod this time after a fierce battle? So the Standard newspaper is asking who will get the nod from the Supreme Court. Will it be the Azimio la Umoja leader Raila Odinga, or will it be President-elect William Ruto, as well as the IEBC chair Wafula Chebukati? That's a story that you can find on the second page of the Standard newspaper. Still on the Supreme Court issue, both teams confident of supreme victory. That is the teams led by President-elect William Ruto, as well as Azimio la Umoja leader Raila Odinga. Remember, we also have a petition definitely against the IEBC chair Wafula Chebukati. So both teams are confident of supreme victory. That's a story that you can find on the third page of the Standard newspaper. Looking at the fifth page of the Standard newspaper, still on the Supreme Court, and President-elect William Ruto says, we will respect Supreme Court verdict. That's a story that you can read on the fifth page of the Standard newspaper. Looking at the sixth page, it's still about the Supreme Court battle, and Raila and Ruto's Supreme Court battles date back to 2013 presidential elections. Remember, this is not the first time that we are having a case challenging the general election. Remember, in 2017, the Azimio la Umoja, or the ODM party, that is Raila Odinga, was able to be a winner in that particular case. So we'll just try and see what exactly will happen today. Will he get a nod as well from the Supreme Court, or will the nod this time go on the other side? That is the side led by Kenya Kwanza leader, that is the President-elect William Samoei Ruto. So we go straight to the Daily Nation. Still, it is about the Supreme Court battle. So the top heading is a portal versus process. So they say it's D-Day. Both Ruto and Raila have said they will accept the Supreme Court findings. That's a story that you can find on the Daily Nation. So they are still talking of the 9 issues that will determine the case today. We have Raila Odinga's claims, we have Chebukati's call, and Ruto's defense. And just to read one for each side. For Raila Odinga's claims, he says William Ruto did not win this. He missed the 50% plus 1 thresholds. So that is just one among the issues that the petition from the Raila Odinga side is claiming. For Chebukati, he calls that elections were conducted strictly in compliance with the court's guidelines, constitutions, and laws. So that's all about Chebukati's call. For Ruto's defense, he says, I won fairly in a free, fair, transparent, accountable, and verifiable election. So that's a story that you can read for yourself on the top page of the Daily Nation. Looking at the second page of the Daily Nation, still about the Supreme Court verdict. What ruling will Apex Court give? So we still await for the Supreme Court just to share with us at what exactly time they'll be giving the verdict. The story goes through the third page of the Daily Nation, as well through the fourth and the fifth page of the Daily Nation. Looking at the sixth page of the Daily Nation, that they're just looking at the key issues likely to determine top court's decision. Remember, we had quite a number of issues according to the petitions. There were almost or more than 20 petitions or issues, and the Supreme Court, led by Martha Koome, narrowed down or just merged everything to 9 issues. And those are some of the things that you can read for yourself on the 6th page of the Daily Nation. Looking at the 7th page, Raila Odinga and his team, remember, they gave a statement yesterday. They say, we are confident of win because our cause is just. Raila says on election case. That's a story that you can read for yourself on the 7th page of the Daily Nation. So just aside from the Supreme Court, but on a story that is still related to that, according to the Daily Nation, there is anxiety, optimism in Azimio's strongholds ahead of Supreme Court judgment. So that's a story that is in Mombasa as well as the Nyanza region. You can get the views of the residents in this area on the 7th page of the Daily Nation. Looking at the 8th page, still the President-elect William Ruto says, I will accept court's verdict depending on either side it goes. That's a story that you can read for yourself on the 8th page of the Daily Nation. So that's all we had for you on the newspaper updates. So we take a very short commercial break. When we come back, we'll be giving you of what exactly happened during the weekend. Remember, both sides, that is the Kenya Kwanza side as well as the Azimio La Umoja side, have said they will accept the verdicts. So we wait to hear from the Supreme Court this time which side will get a nod from the Supreme Court. So let's take a very short commercial break. We'll come back with more.
We welcome your feedback on our programming. For questions or comments, kindly get in touch with us via email info@kirktv.org, SMS 0111 220044, or call us on 0794 588 054.
And let's latch on to something, I don't care how tiny it is, that is a good thing in our life, something that God is doing in us. I want you to decide tonight 2 things: that you are going to help more people than you've ever helped before, and that you are going to let God work with you every day of your life to be more and more excellent and better at everything that you do. And the more you celebrate the good things, the smaller the bad things are going to become. Come on now.
Enjoy Everyday Life with Joyce Meyer every day at 9 p.m. for encouraging and impacting moments on Kirk TV.
Are you looking for a university that matches your drive and ambition? Choose ZTech University. We offer market-driven programs ranging from master's, bachelor's, diploma and certificate levels in the schools of ICT, Media and Engineering, Education, Arts and Social Sciences, and the School of Business and Economics. Enroll today for September 2022 intake and enjoy a vibrant student experience, ultra-modern and well-equipped facilities, experienced faculty, and a place to pursue your dreams and ultimately change the world. ZTech University. Invent your future.
The Presbyterian Teachers College Rubate is now offering training and upgrading of P1 and ECDE certificates to diploma and hereby invites all applicants for the September 2022 intake in the following teacher education programs: Diploma in Early Childhood Teacher Education, DECTE, required grade discipline in KCSE, upgrade of P1 certificate to diploma, upgrade of early childhood teacher education ECDE to diploma. The reporting dates are as from 12th September to 12th October 2022 with the option of part-time classes available. For more information, please contact the principal through 0701 508 503 or their office line on 0720 312 021 and 0711 185 283.
Welcome back and thank you so much for keeping it Kirk TV this morning. The hashtag to use on Twitter is Kirk in the morning. We are on Twitter as Kirk TV_Kenya. We're also coming to you live on Facebook and YouTube at Kirk TV Kenya. On Instagram, we are kirktv.kenya. So let's look at what exactly will be happening today, as well as everything that happened during the weekend and what to expect during this week. So President-elect William Ruto has asked all Kenyans to respect the rule of law regardless of their positions in the society. Speaking yesterday while attending a church service at Lamurdiak High School grounds in Njoro, Nakuru County, Ruto said the country was governed by the Constitution, saying all Kenyans, irrespective of their political affiliations, must obey the law. Speaking for Kenya Kwanza, President-elect William Ruto has said that the coalition will respect the supreme verdict expected later on today.
Ni vile tulipiga kura na tukaheshimu IEBC kama commission ambaye imetengenezwa na sheria ya Kenya kusimamia uchaguzi. Tukaheshimu IEBC ikatoa uamuzi wake, kwa sababu sisi ni nchi ya sheria. Vile vile kesho mahakama ya upeo itatoa uamuzi wake, kwa sababu sisi ni nchi ya kufuata sheria. Pia tutaheshimu uamuzi wa mahakama ya upeo. Hivyo ndivyo tutakavyokuwa na nchi ambayo itakuwa ni nchi ya Wakenya wote, na hakuna Mkenya mkubwa na mdogo. Wakenya wote ni kiwango kimoja chini ya sheria na katiba yetu ya Kenya. And it is very important, even as we begin the journey as a nation, that we agree that Kenya is going to be a country based on the rule of law.
Well, those are words from the President-elect William Samoei Ruto, even as we wait upon the verdict today. Now, William Samoei Ruto's words were echoed by his running mate, Deputy President-elect Rigathi Gachagua, who exuded confidence on their victory today, stating that their win was fair and that the Electoral Commission in the country carried out a transparent, fair and verifiable elections.
Mwenyezi Mungu alituonekania akatupatia ushindi. Na huyo Mwenyezi Mungu aliyekuweko tariki 9 na miaka 4 ya mateso na vitisho, huo Mwenyezi Mungu hakuna pahali ameenda, hata kesho ako.
Now, on the other side, Azimio la Umoja One Kenya presidential candidate Raila Odinga has termed their decision as a just cause. Speaking while meeting elected leaders from Meru County, Raila has urged Kenyans to maintain peace during their moment, exuding confidence as well in the decision to be rendered today by the Supreme Court.
We as Azimio are confident that our cause is just. And if you fight for a just cause, you never get deterred by setbacks. Setbacks are part of the game. But we have a belief in justice. We believe that ultimately justice shall triumph, and that it is the Kenyan people who will be happier. Therefore, we've said that Kenyans should continue to have us in their prayers. We pray for peace. We also pray for wisdom. And we hope that the Supreme Court will deliver a fair ruling which will help us to strengthen our democracy in our country. We thank you and you're welcome.
Now, Raila Odinga's running mate Martha Karua thanked residents of Meru County for electing leaders under the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition, stating that the coalition is very popular in the county as well as the Mount Kenya region as well, despite their main opponent, the Kenya Kwanza, claiming popular seats in the region.
For me, it's just to acknowledge the members and happy that they have clarified that Azimio is intact in Meru, and I know it's intact in Mount Kenya and in the entire country. We will continue fighting for the ideals we so much believe in, and it's better to have a few committed members than to have hangers-on whose minds and soul are elsewhere. So once again, thank you very much, the Meru team, and we will continue to fight for the rights of Kenyans and for our ideals. Together we soldier on.
Now, still on the same story, even as we wait upon the Supreme Court judgment today, Siaya Governor James Orengo displayed confidence that the Supreme Court will rule in favor of the Azimio la Umoja presidential candidate Raila Odinga, and that the just concluded general elections were bungled. Orengo, who was Raila's lead counsel in the petition challenging the declaration of President-elect William Samoei Ruto as the president, at the same time called on Kenyans to maintain peace as they wait for the outcome and even after the court delivers its judgment. Orengo was speaking at St. Catherine Yogo Catholic Church in East Ugenya location in Siaya County, where he joined other worshippers for a Sunday service. He was accompanied by his wife Betty, East Ugenya MCA-elect Fred Omolo, and West Ugenya East-elect and and Ericas Oduor Odongo.
Tulifikisha ambayo inahusu uchaguzi ambao tulipiga kura tarehe 9 mwezi wa 8. Na sisi kama watu wa ODM na tena kama watu wa Azimio tuna hakika ya kwamba maamuzi ya kesho itakuwa ni maamuzi kusema ya kwamba kura vile vilihesabiwa kule Nairobi haikuwa ya ukweli. Na hakika uamuzi ya mahakama itakuwa kwamba hiyo uchaguzi ilikuwa uchaguzi ambao ulikuwa na uwizi na mengine ambapo inaonekana Kenya hii hatukupata uhuru kamili. Kama mtu kama Chebukati anaweza kuleta watu kutoka Venezuela ambao wanaingilia mitambo.
Well, that is Siaya Governor James Orengo just speaking still on matters Supreme Court judgment. Sticking on the same, the Catholic bishops call for solemn prayers for the 7 Supreme Court judges to deliver a Solomonic verdict on the presidential election petition today, led by the chairman of the Kenya Conference of Catholic Bishops, KCCB, Archbishop Martin Kivuva. The Catholic bishops urged Kenyans to resist being persuaded to cause mayhem or violence and maintain peace. Kivuva, who is also the Archbishop of the Catholic Archdiocese of Mombasa, said Kenyans need peace to enable them return to their normal work and for children to stay in school at the delicate time. Flanked by the Vicar General Church leadership, Archbishop Kivuva urged Kenyans to support the next leader unconditionally for the country to enjoy lasting peace.
Mahali pengine pa kwenda ila Supreme Court. We know whatever will come up will be our decision. We want to pray that be our way. We want to pray that be our spirit. It is painful, I know. I've been speaking to some people yesterday and some other place. They say, let's have a party. They say, no, let's wait until baada Jumatatu. Baada Jumatatu tuweze kicheko cha kweli. Baada Jumatatu to embrace our country together. Baada ya Jumatatu tuitike kwamba sisi ni jamaa moja, sisi ni ndugu wa moja. Na mwishoni baada ya Jumatatu tuache watoto wetu wasome bila shida, tuenende kazi zetu kama kawaida na tuendelee na hali pia ya kumwalika Mungu kati yetu.
Well, Archbishop Martin Kivuva right there speaking, and his words, I'll say, it's just echoing exactly the words that the Vice President of the Supreme Court, that is Philomena Mbete Mwilu, as well as the President of the Supreme Court, Martha Koome, even as they asked for prayers from Kenyans just to direct them or God to grant them wisdom even as they share their verdict today. Remember, the time is yet to be confirmed, but once that is done, we'll be very happy to share with you and even broadcast live from the Milimani Law Courts as the 7-bench judge share their verdict today. So we take a very short break. Remember, when we come back, I'll be speaking with Advocate Brian Odhiambo just to share, most importantly, on the 9 key issues that the 7-bench judge will be looking at before declaring their judgment today. So let's take this very short break. We'll be right back.
We welcome your feedback on our programming. For questions or comments, kindly get in touch with us via email info@kaktv.org, SMS 0111 220044, or call us on 0794 588 054.
Are you looking for a university that matches your drive and ambition? Choose ZTech University. We offer market-driven programs ranging from Masters, Bachelor's, Diploma and Certificate levels in the schools of ICT, Media and Engineering, Education, Arts and Social Sciences, and the School of Business and Economics. Enroll today for September 2022 intake and enjoy a vibrant student experience, ultra-modern and well-equipped facilities, experienced faculty, and a place to pursue your dreams and ultimately change the world. ZTech University. Invent your future.
Good journalism is bold, in-depth, unique, captivates, reflects, and impacts. To quench your thirst for exceptional stories that are about you, from you, and for you, Kirk TV presents itself as the hub of feature stories. Ranging from health and environment,
either there is extreme drought or extreme floods, and these will affect people.
Religion and politics.
And the man looked at the boy, looked at the mother, and told the boy, going forward, don't wet the bed again.
There come a time when the nation is more important than an individual.
Education and socio-economic issues.
Nasaidika kwa sababu nikishona moja mbili nauza, napata kitu ya kulisha watoto.
I have met with other types which I have never met before.
To other stories that touch on your day-to-day life.
Njaa ndio iko mingi zaidi. Tafadhali mnasaidia maji ya nyazi.
Tingatinga amekanyanga kila kitu.
Hatujawahi kuona mabadiliko yote kuhusiana na serikali ya kujengea sisi.
Kwanza kitu naweza omba tu nishikiliwe tu pande ya masomo tu ya watoto.
Kirk TV, the hub of feature stories.
The Presbyterian Teachers College Rubate is now offering training and upgrading of P1 and ECDE certificates to diploma, and hereby invites all applicants for the September 2022 intake in the following teacher education programs: Diploma in Early Childhood Teacher Education, DECTE, required grade discipline in KCSE. Upgrade of P1 certificate to diploma, upgrade of early childhood teacher education ECDE to diploma. The reporting dates are as from 12th September to 12th October 2022, with the option of part-time classes available. For more information, please contact the principal through 0701 508 503 or their office line on 0720 312 021 and 0711 185 283.
Without health, life is not life. As human beings, we need complete mental, physical, and social well-being, not just the absence of disease. Regardless of what disease, condition, health system status, or information gap, we are here not just to convey or state, but to explain and break it down in the most basic way, for your health is key and it matters. Every Monday from 7:30 p.m., I will help you find out how to look after your health, live healthier for longer, and be in total control of your health. Welcome back. This is Kirk in the morning. As I mentioned earlier, we will be having a discussion right here in studio, just looking at the Supreme Court judgment expected to be given today by the 7-bench judge. Remember, we are also coming to you live on Facebook as well as YouTube. We are there as Kirk TV Kenya. The hashtag to use on Twitter is Kirk in the morning, and we are on Twitter as Kirk TV _Kenya. You can make this session interactive via our SMS number. That is 0111 220044. So in studio, I'm being joined by Advocate Odhiambo Brian. Karibu sana. All right. So as I mentioned earlier, we'll just be looking at the 9 key issues that will direct today's judgment, and Advocate Brian is here just to help us understand this, as well as the consequences, no matter where or no matter which side the Supreme Court notes. Will it be the Kenya Kwanza side or the Azimio la Umoja side, as well as the IEBC side? So Wakili, just share with us, first of all, for Kenyans, just to understand the 9 key issues, just probably starting with the technology issue.
Yes, during the pre-trial conference, the court outlined 9 major issues that it were to subject to determination. At the center of it was whether the technology applied in this elections process was secure to guarantee a free and fair and credible election. Also that an election that would be verifiable and accountable. Now, in this issue, what the court was trying to understand is whether the application of that technology conformed to the dictates of the Constitution. Because in Article 81, there's a requirement on the Electoral Commission to ensure that the electoral process in its entirety, regardless of the system applied, be it manual or electronic or a hybrid of the same, conforms to the constitutional requirements. So the question the court would be seeking to understand, based on the presentation by both parties, as we saw all through the week, is whether the IEBC really, through its technology, conformed to the constitutional principles. Yes, there were issues with regards to the authenticity of the process, but then again, IEBC responded and said the process was secure. Now the court, as an impartial arbiter, would consider both sides of presentations and then come up to a logical constitution to understand or make a determination on whether the same was in the manner as prescribed in the Constitution. Yes, that is the first issue on technology. The second issue was the court would probably consider was whether the parties in the election met the 50% plus one voter threshold. And this again hinges on the issue of the voter turnout. You'd see that Azimio and its legal team was contended that the voter turnout was a moving target. But the IEBC, as well as the respondents, William Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua, contended that that is not in their purview, and that the issue of voter turnout was not the key determinant in terms of the threshold. So again, we expect the court to guide the country and guide subsequent electoral processes on the issue of voter turnout, and whether it should be the base figure for determining the 50% plus one threshold. The other issue again before the court was whether the postponement of the elections in Kakamega and Mombasa counties led to voter suppression to the disadvantage of the petitioner. Of course, that is a question that is scientific, be it now that it has been presented to the court. This is purely a question that is scientific. We need to understand whether there's a regression. The court would probably do a regression analysis to understand the correlation between the voter turnout, between the presidential voter turnout as well as the gubernatorial voter turnout. Now, that is a question that probably the court would ask. Why was there a delay? Was the delay within the confines anticipated within the electoral laws? Because the Elections Act defines or stipulates the conditions or the circumstances within which the chairperson can call for the postponement of an election. And the question of errors in the ballot papers is not clearly outlined in the law. So that again now, the Supreme Court we expect that the Supreme Court would give a determination on the same. The other issue again was whether the errors are of a magnitude to warrant the nullification of an election, of the presidential election. And this stems from 2017, where the court said that yes, all elections in this world, there's no election in this world that is foolproof. But absolutely there has to be a question whether the errors manifested in that election or evident in that electoral process would then substantially affect the outcome. And that again, we will look into. We need to appreciate that the circumstances in 2017 were different from the circumstances in 2022. Because now what happened in 2022, the margin between the losing presidential candidate and the winning presidential candidate is quite a small one.
A small one, true.
Yes. Now that margin would form the basis of determination of whether the errors would substantially affect the outcome. Such that if the errors culminate into, let's say hypothetically, into 50,000 votes, then the question would be, does it substantially affect the outcome? And probably the response of the court would be in the affirmative. So with that in mind, again, the Supreme Court will appreciate the circumstances they find themselves in and consider those errors. The other issue again was the issue of Form 34As, whether there were discrepancies in terms of what is presented in the portal, the physical forms, and the manner of those forms. There were questions as to why the form was supposed to, the KIMS kit was designed to capture the forms in JPEG format. Now the forms are appearing in the portal in PDF format. That again has technological questions, but the Supreme Court would be tasked to determine what that constitutes legally, and how that again would affect the process. Because building again from 2017, the court said that elections are a process, and that the numbers do not matter if the process that brought about the numbers is flawed, or the process that brought about the numbers is flawed, or is not in conformity with the Constitution. So that again allows the court to question the entirety of the process, to determine whether the process itself conformed to the Constitution, assuming the numbers. The final issue, I think.
Let's maybe we can look at probably that's what you wanted to talk about.
Yes.
The IEBC chair not probably reading the results from the 27 constituencies. That as well, even as we look at the power now, what the Constitution exactly says about the power of Wafula Chebukati as the IEBC chair.
Yeah, that is what I was coming to. The chairperson is the chairperson of the commission, and that again was a very pertinent question at the Supreme Court. The design of a constitution is what world over is called a transformative constitution, and at the core of that acclaim is Chapter 15 commissions. We call them the Chapter 15 commissions. These commissions, including the IEBC, are supposed to embrace. They form like the fourth arm of government because they're independent. The powers, the security of tenure are secured in the Constitution. They're not subject to control or the authority of any arm of government. Okay. Now, with regards to the design of the IEBC, the question the court would be asking itself: is the chairperson a supreme entity within the commission, an all-power holding organ again within the commission? But that again was subject to discussions where you would note that the respondents contended that the chairperson is the national returning officer, while the petitioners averred that the chairperson is a member of the commission. He does not wield power, or he is not above the commissioners. All the commissioners are equals. Okay, Now, the issue of the 27 commissioners, the 27 constituencies, sorry, why were they not read? Were the results verified? That is the question the Supreme Court will be asking itself today as it renders its judgment with regards to the aspect of verifiability of the result. What is the role of the Commission in verifying the results? If you read Article 138C of the Constitution, it defines that the role of the Commission in the presidential election, that the Commission shall tally, verify, and declare. Now, did the chairperson act unilaterally in terms of Article 138C? Those are the pertinent questions we expect the Supreme Court to respond to today with regards to the role of the chairperson.
And does it indicate that it's the chair who is supposed to verify, or the entire commission, as or let me say IEBC, to verify? The
phrasing or the wording of Article 138C is that the commission, that is the wording of the Constitution in Article 138C. The commission shall declare, shall verify, tally, verify, and declare. So standard practice is that the chairperson is the person to declare, of course, to announce. The announcement is purely, the result is entirely supposed to be a result emanating from the commission, because it is the commission tasked to oversee the electoral process. And you'd understand the phrasing of the Constitution based on the historical context of where we come from, because where we found ourselves in 2007 was a supervising officer under the defunct Electoral Commission of Kenya, ECK. That position was held as one that was quite untenable because of the nature of our politics, especially with regards to the presidential contest. Giving power, vesting power into one individual, we understand that an individual vested with power is probably more likely to abuse it. Okay, that is why coming into the 2010 Constitution, there was a change from that all supervising entity or individual to a commission, to create a concept of checks and balances, where individuals, nobody wields power over the other. The result now becomes a commission's result, with the presumption that the commission is supposed to operate within Articles 10 of the Constitution and the wording independent. Now the question we should be asking ourselves post the entire electoral process is IEBC actually independent? What is the context of the phrase independent in the naming of the IEBC? Yes, absolutely. Yes.
All right, so you've just mentioned of a number of issues, and as you put it, most of the issues just revolve around whether there were definitely irregularities in the general election. We've mentioned of the IEBC chair, that is Wafula Chebukati. We know that if the Supreme Court upholds the elections, or they nullify the elections, will have a general election within 60 days. So what will happen in case the Supreme Court finds Wafula Chebukati not fit to hold that particular office? What exactly will happen, definitely according to the Constitution? Yes,
the requirement is that there are two options. There's the process, what happens when the election process, the election results are nullified. Within 60 days, that is a requirement. Within 60 days, we are required to have conducted an election process. The issue of Chebukati being not fit to hold an office, again, is both a legal and a political question. Because on the legal context, we have to appreciate that, yes, there may be issues with regards to the way he conducted the manner, the way he conducted the elections. But the question has to be whether he followed the law. If he didn't follow the law, is he fit to hold office again? Is he fit to conduct the subsequent elections? And that the court can pronounce itself on and cement the role of Chapter 6 of the Constitution with regards to leadership and integrity, with regards to the national values and principles, so that we move away from people who arbitrarily exercise their powers in terms of performing the constitutionally given roles. Now, the political question here is who will conduct the elections? And that nexus between the legal and the political aspects is quite very difficult to understand, because now we have a parliament. The chairperson has to be appointed by the president and vetted by
the parliament.
has to be nominated by the president, vetted by parliament, and subsequently appointed by the president. That is the question. We have a parliament that is yet to take an oath of office. We find ourselves in the most difficult of circumstances constitutionally. But again, I expect the court to, because the court is allowed to make directives to give any other appropriate relief in terms of or directives in terms of managing the elections. And this is where we again take pride in our constitution to say there's a need for purposive interpretation to ensure that we do not find ourselves, the court is allowed to develop new ways of thinking, new ways of jurisprudence, so that we do not find ourselves in a quagmire as we find ourselves in. Because now the court has the option of saying, yes, Chebukati is not fit to hold office. Can we figure out and create an interim body to conduct the elections, or can the entire electoral process be governed by even the court itself? Because if you look at the constitution, the constitutionalism and constitutionality in the broader context, the court can do what we call can give what we call a structural interdict, where the court oversees and monitors the entire process. So these are questions that we have to appreciate the context. We may not have the express answers in the law as probably is designed currently, but the court is allowed within the law again to become innovative, transformative in the spirit of the Constitution, so that we enforce both the spirit and the letter of the Constitution. Yes, because we assume the spirit is a living document. We are supposed to interpret it in a manner that protects the interests of the people. Yes.
All right. Now, just looking at the dilemmas, as you put it, in terms of law and definitely the Constitution,
yes,
we have, you mentioned of the reliefs that probably the court might share. As far as Wafula Chebukati, who is the chair, is concerned, whether the court will rule if he is fit or not fit to hold office, depending on how today's judgment will go. Looking at issue number 9 right here, just as the Standard newspaper puts it, what reliefs or what other reliefs on top of what you've mentioned and orders can the court grant or issue?
Now, we need to appreciate that at this point in time, the Supreme Court is sitting as an elections court. The role of the Supreme Court at this point in time is purely to determine whether the elections, as were conducted on the 9th of August 2022, were in strict adherence and compliance with the law. Now, what reliefs are there? The court is sitting as an elections law, but some of the orders sought speak to criminal aspects. Some of the prayers sought by the petitioners speak to criminal aspects. The court may indict the chairperson in terms of his conduct or whatever he did with the management and conduct of the elections. But then that can be picked up, okay? It doesn't have to be expressly done by the Supreme Court at this moment, because the role of the Supreme Court at this point in time is limited to the elections. It is sitting as an elections law. Now, but we have to appreciate that in the conduct of an election, there are both criminal and civil aspects, such that criminal aspects would include examples of voter bribery, violence during the votes, violence, political violence, such things. These are questions that, in as much as they're criminal, but they're determined within the aspect of the elections law. Now, the remedies that exist for the chairperson, with regards to the chairperson, would, at this point in time, would just be an indictment with regards to his character and conduct. So that if the party, therefore, aggrieved, can pick it up post the electoral process and say that now we are seeking an application to bar him from conducting an election based on or holding any other public office based on the requirements and the dictates of the Leadership and Integrity Act and Chapter 6 of the Constitution. So at this point in time, what the Supreme Court can do with the chairperson is purely an indictment, just to outline that he failed and that he fell short of the constitutional requirements. But the prayers sought therein are probably far-fetched, in my own opinion, with regards to the role the the Supreme Court finds itself at this moment. It is purely an elections law at this moment. Yes, it's purely an elections court law. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. And definitely Kenyans are looking upon, or just they are very eager to see of what exactly the Supreme Court judgment will be, and probably some of them do not necessarily understand how probably the verdict is reached upon. How would you say the verdict is reached upon? Does each and every judge come up with their statement, then they consolidate everything and probably get the judgment?
Yeah, yes. You'd note that even at the time of the closing of the submissions, this was a point that the bench made out, that each and every judge, each and every member of the judge would go back to their chambers, deliberate on those issues, and come up with their reasoned judgment on all those on all the 9 issues. Then they would retreat into the bench as it is, and then the decision now would be made whether are all of them in agreement on a specific issue. Is there a dissenting opinion on a specific issue? So that we expect that, like I pointed out, that the fundamental question at this point in time is to determine whether the entire elections process was conducted in conformity with the law. And if not, then the elections should be nullified. Now, that is the fundamental question the court is presented with. Now, we do not expect a unanimous decision, okay? We expect judges to pronounce themselves on different issues as they were outlined or framed during the pretrial conference. So that allows us to understand what was the thinking of this judge and what was the thinking of this other judge, and why do they agree and why do they not agree. So that the country is of course richer in terms of jurisprudence with regards to elections law, and the determination of whether our legal terrain as is serves us. Because again, we have to question why do we have to subject ourselves to an election petition again after every 5 years? Yeah. Is it necessary? So that are we able just to conduct an election in the form and manner that we want in the law, and everybody goes home satisfied? So those are the questions we expect the court to answer. But the verdict should come out clearly from every judge. We expect every judge to give their reasoning, their judgment, well put out, and then we understand if it is a unanimous decision, or if there's a majority decision, or if there's, with regards to every other question as they were framed, if there's a majority decision, or if there are other also dissenting opinions. But then again, you also need to appreciate that they will have to take a vote if there's a tie. So that the tiebreaker, of course, in this case would be the Chief Justice. Would be the Chief Justice. So if there's a tie, then they would have to take a vote where necessary. So the coming up of the verdict is entirely, again, to appreciate that the Supreme Court bench is collegiate in nature. They have to come together, they have to discuss issues, having their own opinion, but where need be, then probably the vote would have to be taken. Yes. Okay.
Now, just looking at you've referred to the 2017 case quite a lot, and you've also mentioned that the country does not need to have a general election or presidential petitions after each and every 5 years. Absolutely. How would you compare the 2017 petition and the 2022 petition? And would you say maybe the gaps that were found during the 2017 presidential petition have been filled, even as we have this particular petition?
Now, the 2017 petition, of course, we would want to appreciate how monumental the monumental effect it had on the subsequent conduct of elections. Looking at the manner and the form of the manner in which the 2022 elections were conducted, you'd appreciate that yes, they understood the confines of what came from the 2017 election, because at the core of the elections in 2017 was a question of the role of a polling center. And that the result of the polling center is the final result, and that is not subject to any other question, even at the National Tallying Center. Now, in 2022, the conversation was now taken to, yes, the Form 34A has been signed at the polling station, the polling center. The issue is again transmission, okay? The issue is transmission. The issue is veracity of that form. Is this form at the polling station level similar to the physical form presented to the tallying center? Mm-hmm. So yes, the 2017 decision emphasized the role of a polling center. Now, we expect the 2022 petition to emphasize the role of the security of transmission of that, of the results from the polling station to the National Tallying Center. So that now we are developing our elections laws to say that yes, the result at the polling station is final. How do we secure that result from the polling station to the National Tallying Center? That issue of transmission again is of course will now come. So I would say that yes, the Supreme Court decision in 2017 was a great one, and we expect even greater deliberations in terms of securing the vote in 2022. Again, at the core of 2017 was the security of the vote at the polling station. The court emphasized on that and said that the vote again is the final answer of this question is at the polling station. Now, in 2022, we are asking ourselves again, if the role of the IEBC is to conduct free, fair, and credible elections, and this, remember, is an independent institution, what again is the role? Why do candidates need polling agents? Why do candidates need agents at the polling station? Then that points again to the question of whether is IEBC really independent? Are they able to conduct the elections in a fair, free, and credible manner, so that the candidate would just be sure that just by voting, I do not need an agent. The true reflection of the results will come out. So we expect again the court to pronounce itself on the role of IEBC, so that it does not become the issue of again securing the vote does not become extrapolated and say you did not have an agent at the polling station, so you can't say that these results are not true. Okay, so the conduct of elections is the buck stops with the IEBC, and the role of a political play in an election is limited to campaigning and ensuring that people vote for him. Securing the vote again and the entirety of the electoral process is the role of the political player is limited. So we expect again the Supreme Court to build and enrich us on what role the political player should play in terms of securing the vote, and whether that again and whether the role of the IEBC should intertwine with the role of the political player in securing the vote. Yeah, so it's again a question we expect the Supreme Court to come out on clearly. What is the role of a polling agent, and is it necessary? If again we understand the role of the IEBC within the dictates of the Constitution as an independent commission tasked to conduct a free, fair, and credible election. Yes.
Now, just talking of agents, I remember the Chief Justice Martha Koome asking of if the president-elect, that is William Samoei Ruto, did not know that he was the winner, why did he come and sit next to the IEBC chair, Wafula Chebukati? And there was the issue of agents, that IEBC informed the chief agent of Kenya Kwanza, and he informed William Ruto. And people were asking then, why was Raila Odinga not present at the National Tallying Center? How would you comment on this, or what's your opinion on this?
Yeah, this is of course subject to personal opinion. If you look at the happenings at the Bomas with regards to the August 9th election, an individual will find himself questioning again the veracity of the process, the independence of the process, because I do not understand why there is need to inform candidates of the results prior. But then again, there is also the need of candidates to verify the electoral process. This again boils down to the question of the transmission of results, which is supposed to be public, which is supposed to be transparent, just to enhance the aspect of transparency and accountability. So that the participant in the election sees the results on the IEBC portal and is able to determine whether he or she is leading. At the same time, his or her agents are verifying the numbers. Now, the design of the law is that the conduct of the elections is supposed to stop with, the buck stops with the IEBC. It is supposed to tally, verify, and declare. Now, this verification process, of course, we understand that the Elections Act allows for the agents to come and verify the results alongside the commission. That is just to give an extra eye, an extra layer of security. But can we presumptively act and assume that the IEBC can conduct free, fair, and credible elections even without being followed by another agent? That would be the question going forward. But what we need to appreciate is that being informed of the elections prior and you coming to take the results is probably not necessary at this point in time, owing to the nature of how emotive our politics is, because that is indicative of giving somebody, an individual, a lead player, a head start. So it would be very sensible for the IEBC to just allow the agents to verify the results and probably tell them that yes, let us bring all the candidates in so that we appreciate the spirit of brotherhood. If it would be very, very monumental if we saw Raila Odinga and William Ruto that day, so that Raila Odinga would, if at all the results were verified and acceptable to him, he would say, yes, I appreciate the results, the entire results, and William Ruto is the president, or vice versa. Okay? But then the conduct of the election again goes into you question even the very simple details. Why was, for instance, William Ruto entirely thanking the chairperson, and why was the chairperson talking about intimidation and harassment? Who was intimidating who and who was harassing who? And why was William Ruto not thanking the commission and just thanking Mr. Wafula Chebukati? So those are questions that probably they are not legal, but just from a curious point of view as a concerned citizen, one would be asking himself, was this necessary? Does it ring a bell to a common person, or probably somebody would want to digest and go into details? So the conduct, the issues at the Bomas are probably issues of personal opinion, and you may not find an answer to them. Yes, you may not find an answer to them in entirety. Yes.
Okay. Now, even as we wait for the judgment, earlier on we had the issue of a recount, probably, or a rerun. Would you say there's still a chance of probably a recount, just talking of the polling stations and the results at the polling stations are final? Will there be a case where probably the Supreme Court says, now let's have a recount of votes from all the polling stations?
Yes, that is very possible. Because one of the prayers that the petitioner, Raila Odinga, is seeking is to be declared the president-elect. And that is subject to, you'd understand that is subject to two things. One, a retally or a recount. These are two different things. A retally means the mathematical culmination of the votes as they were captured in the forms, Form 34As. Now, that is already contested. The veracity and the authenticity of Form 34As is contested. So the Supreme Court would be asking itself, do we need now to subject ourselves to a recount? Based on that rationale would be coming on the scrutiny process they undertook based on the registrar's report. If that report says that there were issues, there were glaring issues, and that there are some issues that probably need to be reconfigured, or what numbers come out of that recount for the selected constituencies, for the selected polling stations, sorry, then the court would ask itself, just to, in the public interest, just to ensure that there's a closure to this matter, why can't we undertake a process of recount that is managed and entirely overseen by the judiciary and not the IEBC now? This is a third layer of elections, because the judiciary, the Supreme Court is a key player in the presidential election process, and they can supervise the elections if need be. Because there was even there was even a process of recount that was conducted in 2017 in Mathare, and this was ordered for by the High Court. And now thereupon, the results emanating from that recount, the court declared the winner. So it can be done, it is possible, but then again we would have to question, the issue of timelines would come in. What time would it take?
For a recount.
Yes, but we need to understand that just for the essence, the court does not operate in a vacuum. The court does not operate in isolation. It appreciates both the law and the larger context of the society. So in balancing, in doing that intricate balance, it has to take care of the interests, it has to protect both the fidelity, it has to act in fidelity to the law, but again also has to ensure that the law is there to serve the people, because law is made for man and man is not made for law. The law is made for man, so the law has to serve man. Okay, so they have to ensure that yes, we are making a decision, but is it in the larger interest of the people? So that, assuming that we were to conduct an election, to conduct a recount, the 48%, almost half of the country who voted, who they claim voted for Raila Odinga, would go and say yes, even the recount was done by a third party, and it's actually true that Raila Odinga lost, or the inverse is true. So that the country moves on from the emotive nature, and people go into their businesses settled and saying, this was it, this is a true reflection. So the court has to appreciate, the court is now at this moment tasked to appreciate these circumstances and come to a very logical and reasonable conclusion. Yes.
Okay, now just looking at the petitions, even as we look at the 9 issues of how the Supreme Court was able to consolidate all the petitions into these 9 issues, would you say maybe this is something that or the petitions or the court will share guidelines that moving forward, probably for the other general election, will the number of petitions be limited? Do we expect probably a ruling from the court in that regard?
No, I would say no, because you cannot limit petitions. You cannot limit how many people come before a court of law, because every Kenyan citizen has a right to be heard. Who has a complaint has the right to approach a court of law, and their complaint be heard and determined in the most just as a means to justice. Now you cannot limit that, because that again would be going against constitutional principles, because the phrase every Kenyan means any Kenyan, so long as you have a valid complaint. Even if it is not valid, it is the court to determine if that complaint is not valid. So we cannot limit that. That would be in total disregard of the constitutional principles. If at all the court were to limit that, then that can be challenged again. We can challenge that, but that is not possible. Yeah, that would be total abeyance of the Constitution. Yes.
All right, thank you so much for that. And to our dear viewer, probably you can just share in your comments as well as questions as far as that is concerned. So we have a question here from our SMS number, just to you, Advocate Odembo. What reliefs and orders are likely to be issued by the court today that will determine how future elections are held? I think that's one of the things that we looked at, but maybe just to...
Yes. Now, the law as is currently provides for 2 issues. The reliefs are that the elections can be nullified or the elections can be upheld. So when the elections are nullified, we are supposed to conduct an election within 60 days. If the elections are upheld, then, and that means the petition is dismissed, then the president-elect should be sworn in within the next 7 days. Okay? Now, with regards to, for posterity, the question we expect again the court to respond to is the issue of the commission. Is IEBC a commission, or there's a supreme being called the chairperson or the national returning officer? That again we expect, because that would inform subsequently how elections are conducted in 2027 and other elections to come. The other question would be Form 34A, if need be, because the question of Form 34A 1 of 2 and Form 34A 2 of 2 arose at the Supreme Court. Why was there Form 34A 2 of 2? Was it a deliberate ploy to do something fishy. Now, that again we expect the court to pronounce itself on. Again, we expect the court to pronounce itself on the orders with regards to technology. Okay, how should technology come into play? How should technology come into play, and what role should technology play? And whether the technological terrain applied by the IEBC, does it need to conform to the constitutional requirements, and how should that conformity be done? Now, we expect the court to direct that, yes, technology, we have to appreciate technology, but this is how things should be done with regards to the dictates of the Constitution in Article 81. The other issue is on the question, again, this question has come out in 3 election petitions, presidential election petitions, 2013, 2017, and 2022. The question of rejected ballot and its inclusion in determination of 50% plus 1. Because the fundamental question, therefore, is, this is an individual who has voted. He has not shied away from voting. He has not slept home. He has voted. Does his voice deserve to be heard? Or by the virtue of that, he made a mistake, the same will not matter or count? Or the role of IBC again in conducting civic education to inform voters of what entails voting and the entire voting process. How should you mark your ballot papers? Is IBC failing in its process, in its duty to educate the voters, so that we every individual, every citizen, we understand that we have a right, but do we perform the right in the manner that it should be done? So we expect the court again to pronounce itself on the question of rejected ballots, and in terms of whether the same should affect the calculation of 50% plus 1. What again we expect the orders to come from the court is the issue of the role of the IEBC or the chairperson in postponing elections in specific counties. How should that be done? What conditions should be followed in terms of calling for postponement? Are those conditions absolute, or the court, the chairperson, could look into issues and say, this is an extenuating circumstance, and the law allows me to postpone for elections. Can I do a linking and find that this very necessary? So yeah, the court has quite a number of issues to guide us on, and we expect them to guide us on them conclusively, so that, like I pointed out, subsequent conduct of elections, we move from a point of uncertainty to a point of certainty in the next elections. Yes. Okay.
Now, in your own opinion, we've had both the Kenya Kwanza or the President-elect William Ruto, as well as the Azimio la Umoja leader Raila Odinga, saying that they will accept the verdict whichever way it goes. Do you think this probably gives now confidence to the Supreme Court that whatever decision we make, this let me say the two parties will accept and Kenya will move forward?
Absolutely, yes. And that, again, I would appreciate the historical context of where we have come from as a country. Because pre-2007, there was no confidence. There was little or no confidence entirely in the judicial system. So that an aggrieved election, party in an election would find it very difficult to approach the court in seeking redress. And that is why people would resort to finding refuge in their constitutionally protected rights. For example, the right to picket, the right to demonstrate, the right to assemble. But now, post 2007, and with the coming of with the promulgation of the Constitution on August 27th in 2010, there was a shift. There has been a confidence in the judicial setting. 2013 we accepted the outcome. 2017 parties accepted the outcome, and we expect parties again to accept the outcome in 2022. So that then again, that shows how far we have come as a country to mature as a democracy, both in terms of the key leading political players as well as the common man, so that we now appreciate that the electoral process is governed by their players in the electoral process, and their determination is final, regardless of whether we agree with them or not. But then again, I would say that yes, we totally have no option but to accept the results, and then we call upon on those whose results will go in their favor to be magnanimous enough to engage the others, and then the others who probably would be defeated would be gracious enough to accept the results, because the nature of our judicial system is adversarial in nature, where we pit each other against each other. There's a winner and a loser in the most simple and basic manner, so that the loser accepts the outcome, the winner accepts the outcome, but that does not change the fact that we are all Kenyans. So we need to appreciate that, and those statements themselves are comforting, because again, that cements our belief in the judicial system, our belief in the rule of law, our belief in democracy and its core tenets, and the principles of natural justice. Yes.
Okay. I'm told that let's just listen in from some of the comments made by the 7-bench judge on Friday immediately after the hearing. And just to let you know that later on today we will definitely be having a verdict from the Supreme Court. But let's listen in to what exactly Philomena Mbete Mwilu as well as the Chief Justice Martha Koome said on Friday.
Things happen.
All right, so I'm being informed we'll be getting that bite or insight in a few. All right.
Working within the very strict timelines that we gave you. Now, if you felt pressed for time, blame yourselves, because you gave us 14 days to do what ought to be done in a year, if you ask us. And while you take a break today, we continue working. We thank you, truly thank you on behalf of the team and before the team leader speaks. What you didn't know, but you may have realized, is that every day there was a marshal or a prefect from this end to ensure that you kept to your lanes. If you didn't notice, today I was the marshal. The day you laughed most, Dr. Wanjala was the marshal. That's how we work here. We work as a team. We divide roles here so that we don't all speak at the same time. And here, like things we have heard you say today, we consider ourselves equal. None of us has a veto power, but of course we have a team leader. We thank you very much. Pray for us as we undertake the next phase. It's actually not the more difficult one. You have helped us with the more difficult part, but it is intense, for which reason, therefore, we ask you that you pray to whatever God you pray to, that God will assist us to continue in the spirit we've been in for the last 1 year, and that we shall have a very high sense of discernment, and that we shall return to Kenya a judgment not less than what Kenya expects. Thank you very much, and now I ask that the team leader speaks to us.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Vice President of the Court, and for being a very, very effective marshal for today. Allow me to thank my brother and sister judges. We actually call it shared leadership in the judiciary. We take up all this responsibility together, and I'm most grateful for that. Thank you, Senior Counsel Professor Gebu Muigai, for those very kind words. All we saw, like the DCJ is saying, is very, very robust arguments and participation. We did not reckon any bad behavior. Like you see, we did not cite anybody for contempt. So we are very, very most grateful for your cooperation. Allow me also to thank the other people who worked with us round the clock. A team led by the Registrar of the Court, Honorable Letitia Washira, and the Deputy Registrars, our law clerks who have been supporting us, all the registry staff, the executive officers.
Well, that is the President of the Supreme Court, Chief Justice Martha Koome, as well as the Vice President of the Supreme Court, Philomena Mbete Mwili, just giving their final, let me say, comments on Friday immediately after they listened to the petition. Now to you, Wakili, the issue of time, let me say, has come about by, that is the Vice Chair, Philomena Mbete Mwili. Would you say the time that was accorded to the court and the judges is enough? That is just Saturday and Sunday for them to make their statements as well as the judgment?
Now the time is 14 days after an election, after the conduct of an election, after the declaration of result, an aggrieved party is supposed to file an election, and that 14 days again is a window period for the determination of that petition and subsequent ruling on the same. Of course, you would appreciate that with the nature of how heavy these matters are, probably that is a reform area. But then again, we have to be very open to the reason why 14 days, that 14 days limit was put, because we cannot subject the country to a prolonged electoral process. Imagine this is a scenario where people campaign for 60 days or 90 days, we go to an elections, and then we have another 30 days again to determine an election petition. That is time that is probably, of course, time is a resource. That is probably time that you cannot hold the country at ransom with people questioning themselves who is who, okay? And not even the mood of the country at this point in time is that of uncertainty. Now imagine holding people uncertain for that long. For that long. That question again is of course we would want as much time as we want, as the court desires. But again, we have to look at, is that time necessary based on the circumstances? Yeah, so it's a very intricate balance that we can't even pounce ourselves on right now. But it is important that if time were to be extended, it needs to be extended in the most justifiable and reasonable manner, so that we do not have an extrapolated time period holding the country at ransom. We just need to probably, if it were on my end, it should be within 21 days. That gives the Supreme Court time. Or additional 7 days or to hear and determine the electoral disputes. That would be very sensible. So, but the issue of time again has to be, the extrapolation of that time has to be conducted within by appreciating the circumstances we find ourselves in as a country. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much for that. Maybe any closing remarks?
Now, at this point in time, we need to appreciate that we have come so far as a country, and it is important again to appreciate that we need to be calm. Winston Churchill said that in victory, magnanimity, and in defeat, defiance. For those who would be defeated or who would lose this petition, quote unquote, we need to be defiant and resilient and say that we are still Kenyans. We still have a role to play in nation building, and go ahead and forge the nation. For those who would win or come, whose the decision would be their favor, yes, be magnanimous enough to extend an olive branch to the others and say that, yes, we all are Kenyans and this is the time to build a nation, and pamper up the cracks and go again and become the indivisible nation that we are called Kenya. Regardless of whether we go back to an election again, we call for peace and calmness, and of course we need to appreciate that we only have this country, Kenya. We don't have any other country. So let us take care of our motherland and be ready to take up everything as it comes. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Now, word of the day before you go.
Yes.
This word, friends of the court.
Yes.
Maybe very, let me say, an understandable language to our audience.
Yes.
What does amicus curiae mean? And you were just mentioning to me maybe if the in plural is this, in singular is this.
Yes. Now, the phrase amicus curiae is a Latin phrase. You'd understand that so many words in law we have so many, the use of Latin expressions in law is something we have taken up seriously. But the phrase amicus curiae simply means a friend of the court. Now the role of an amicus curiae is just to give court an added opinion in terms of the issues before it, just to guide an advisory brief to guide the court while it's making its determination. The amicus curiae can make oral submissions or can make the submissions by writing, giving briefs. As in this case, there were no oral submissions by the amicus curiae. They were oral briefs. Now, the amicus curiae has a plural, like I was telling you, it's amici curiae, and that means friends of the court now in plural. So, yeah. That's basically what an amicus curiae is.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much for that, and thank you for educating us as well. So we'll take a very short break, but just to inform you that the Supreme Court will be making the election petition verdict at exactly 12 a.m. as you can see. So we have, that is at 12 noon, sorry about that. So we have Raila Odinga and 6 others, those are the petitioners. We have William Ruto and 10 others who are the respondents, and we have the Law Society of Kenya and 2 others who are the amici curiae. So we take a very short commercial break. We'll be coming back with more.
Are you looking to grow your business? Kirk TV offers you a variety of advertising opportunities to suit your budget. Advertise with us today and reach your potential customers countrywide. For more information, email us on sales@kirktv.org or call 011 00 90 647.
My name is Moaz Jamal. I'm the Managing Director of Associated Motors Limited. Associated Motors introduced the Isuzu brand of commercial vehicles into Kenya a little over 55 years ago. We've been with Family Bank a little over a year now. We've had a very good experience. There's always interaction between ourselves and the team at Family Bank. They've worked with us very much as part of the AM family. As a partner, they've always wanted to understand our business. In many ways, the name of the bank reflects what they do.
Our customers are family,
And we want you to know that you can always bank on family.
Without health, life is not life. As human beings, we need complete mental, physical, and social well-being, not just the absence of disease. Regardless of what disease, condition, health system status, or information gap, we are here not just to convey or state, but to explain and break it down in the most basic way, for your health is key and it matters. Every Monday from 7:30 p.m., I will help you find out how to look after your health, live healthier for longer, and be in total control of your health.
The Presbyterian Teachers College Rubate is now offering training and upgrading of P1 and ECDE certificates to diploma, and hereby invites all applicants for the September 2022 intake in the following teacher education programs: Diploma in Early Childhood Teacher Education, DECTE, required grade discipline in KCSE. Upgrade of P1 certificate to diploma, upgrade of early childhood teacher education ECDE to diploma. The reporting dates are as from 12th September to 12th October 2022, with the option of part-time classes available. For more information, please contact the principal through 0701 508 503 or their office line on 0720 312 021 and 0711 185 283.
Well, thank you for staying tuned to Kirk TV. This is Kirk in the morning. Remember, if you're just joining us, we are still coming to you live on Facebook as well as YouTube. So you can find or catch the entire broadcast right there. Remember, we just had a discussion with Wakili Brian Odhiambo, just dissecting of what exactly to expect during the 12 noon Supreme Court verdict, as well as far as the presidential petition is concerned. So remember, you can still send in your comments via our SMS number, that is 0111 220044. And right now we go straight to the field. Mwenzangu Vincent Kerosi yuko tayari kabisa kukujuza tu mengi kuhusiana na yaliyojiri uwanjani, lakini mwanzo tupate kitambulisho, kisha Kerosi atatuarifu zaidi.
Jumatatu ilivyo kawaida, siku ya kuchangamka kwenye michezo. Mtazamaji, ni yapi ambayo yamejiri weekend nzima? Tunaangazia kubwa zaidi leo hii ikiwa ni mashabiki wa Manchester United mjini wamevalia hata t-shirt yaliovalia tai. Utashangaa ni kwa nini? Ni kwa sababu walipata ushindi wa kiduchu tu wa kusaidiwa na referee. Ila si neno, ndio michezo tulionayo moja kwa moja. Tuanze nchini Uingereza ambapo Manchester United walipata kivuno cha mabao 3-1 dhidi ya watani wao Arsenal ugani Old Trafford. Manchester United walipata mabao kupitia sajili mpya Anton kunako dakika 35. Hii ni baada ya bao la Gabriel Martinelli kunako dakika 12 kufutiliwa mbali na VAR baada ya kusemekana kwamba nahodha Martin Odegaard alimfanyia madhambi kiungo Christian Eriksen. Arsenal walisawazisha kunako dakika 60 kupitia Bukayo Saka, lakini Mwingereza Marcus Rashford akawahakikishia mashetani wekundu ushindi baada ya kufunga mabao mawili. United sasa wamechupa hadi nafasi ya 5 ligini, japo Arsenal bado wapo kidedea. Na mtazamaji, ya Manchester United ndo kama hivyo. Mapema hiyo jana pia Brighton walipata ushindi mnono wa mabao 5-2 dhidi ya Leicester City na kuyazidisha masaibu ya wa majibwa hao ambao sasa wameshikilia mkia katika ligi ya EPL wakiwa na alama 1 baada ya kucheza mechi 6. Mtazamaji, mbali na hayo ya mchezo wa kandanda, yapo mengine katika mchezo wa tenisi ambapo mkali wao katika upande wa wanawake Serena Williams hatimaye ameibwaga manyanga baada ya miaka 27 kwenye taaluma hiyo. Wikendi hii iliyopita Serena, ambaye baadaye mwezi huu atafikisha umri wa miaka 41, alipoteza dhidi ya Ayla Tomljanovic wa Australia katika msururu wa US Open seti 7-5 asua 6-7, 4-6 na 6-1. Baada ya mchuano huo, Williams aliyegubikwa na hisia na machozi machoni aliwapungia mkono mashabiki kwa kile kinachotarajiwa kuwa ndio mechi yake ya mwisho kabisa kabla ya kuondoka kabisa katika mchezo huo. Na bila shaka mtazamaji, katika mchezo ama katika taaluma yake miaka 27 ameyashinda mataji 23 makuu na kuheshimika kuwa mchezaji bora zaidi kuwahi kutokea duniani katika mchezo wa tenisi. Hayo ndio ya michezo. Mwenzangu Aida, najua kwamba unafuatilia sana mwanadada Serena Williams. Miaka 27 katika mchezo si mchezo. Ni miaka mingi na mataji 23 makuu yanaitwa Grand Slams. Ni hakuna mchezaji mwingine ameyashinda hiyo. Hata katika mchezo wa wanaume ambaye ana mataji mengi, ana 22, ambaye ni Nradhi kidogo nimekabwa, ama nafikiri hao ni mashabiki wa Manchester United wananitumia mambo, lakini si neno. Nimekabwa na mate, lakini kama nilivyokuwa nakuelezea, katika mchezo wa wanaume, mchezo wa tenisi, aliye na mataji mengi ni Novak Djokovic, anayo mataji kama 22 wakiwa sare na Roger Federer. Kwa hivyo sijui mbona nakamatwa sana leo, lakini ni kama nilivyokuelezea tu. Mchezaji huyu ameonyesha njia kipekee. Nafikiri itabidi take over, manake nafikiri nimekabwa kidogo. Lakini mtazamaji, ndo ya michezo hayo. Acha niende nikatafute maji, manake nitoa ya mate ya Manchester United kwenye domo. Lakini Manchester United pongezi, Arsenal pongezi zaidi, manake bado mko kileleni.
Naam, ni mwenzangu tu Vincent Kerosi akitujuza mengi tu kuhusiana na mambo yalivyokuwa uwanjani. Anashabikia sana timu ile ya Arsenal, pengine ndio maana yonyongwa na mate. Kwenda tu pengine mapumziko kwa kiduchu, Kerosi akiweza tu kumeza angalau ama tu kunywa kopo la maji. Tupate mapumziko, tutarejea.
Ndo maana yake wewe una kopo la maji, mimi sina, ila
utapata lako.
Acha niondoke niende kutafuta langu. Mtazamaji, ndio michezo, kwa heri.
Naam. that was Vincent Kerosi with the day's sport. So let's shift gears direct to the Supreme Court verdict. Remember, we'll be hearing from them at exactly 12 noon. That is from the statement that they have just shared. But right about now, let us just look at the 9 key issues that the 7-bench judge led by the CJ Martha Koome will be looking at. So the issue number 1 is whether the technology deployed by IEBC in the elections met the standards of integrity, verifiability, security, and transparency to guarantee accurate and verifiable results. That's the issue number 1 right there that the Supreme Court will be looking at even as they give their verdict at 12 noon. Issue number 2 is whether there was interference with the uploading and transmission of Forms 34A from the polling stations to the IEBC public portal. Issue number 3 is whether there were differences between Forms 34A uploaded on the IEBC public portal and the Form 34A received at the National Tallying Center and Form 34A issued to the agents at the polling station. That is issue number 3. Issue number 4, whether the postponement of governor, parliamentary and ward elections in some areas resulted in voter suppression to the detriment of the petitioners in petition number E005 of 2022. Issue number 5, whether there were unexplainable discrepancies between the votes cast for presidential candidates and other elective position. Number 6, whether IEBC carried out the verification, tallying and declaration of results in accordance with Article 138(3)(c) and 138(10) of the Constitution. 7 is whether the declared president-elect attained 50% plus 1 vote of all the votes cast in accordance with Article 138 Section 4 of the Constitution. Number 8 is whether there were irregularities and illegalities of such magnitude as to affect the final result of the presidential election. The final issue, that is issue number 9, is what reliefs and orders can the court grant or issue. So those are the 9 key issues that the Supreme Court will be looking at as they share their verdict this noon. That is at exactly 12 noon today. Those are the 9 key issues that the Supreme Court will be looking at even as they give their verdict at 12 noon today. Remember, we just heard that is Advocate Odhiambo Brian just sharing some of the reliefs, or that is looking at key issue number 9. So Odhiambo, or Advocate Odhiambo, has just shared of some of the reliefs and orders that the court can grant as far as the presidential petition is concerned. So thank you so much for tuning in and for keeping me company. My name is Aida Munzati. Remember, we'll be having the Supreme Court verdict or judgment at exactly 12 noon. So which side will the Supreme Court or the 7-bench judge nod to? Will it be the Kenya Kwanza side, or the president-elect side, William Ruto, or the Azimio la Umoja side, that is Raila Odinga, as the key petitioner? Just to mention that later today, that is at exactly 12:30, as well as 6:30, that is in the evening, we'll be having Kirk Machweo as well as Kirk Adhuhuri, where we'll be giving to you one-on-one of what exactly is happening as far as the news is concerned. So thank you so much for keeping me company. My name is Aida Munzati. Thank you to each and every person who made this broadcast a success. Once again, I'm Aida Munzati, and what I'll say, let's maintain peace.